अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जाय, नमः हरिदास ठाकुर की जाय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की जाय। श्री वृंदावन धाम की जाय, नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जाय। श्री जमुनमाय गंगामाय भक्ति देवी तुलसी देवी की जाय। शिला प्रभुपाद की जाय। शिला भक्ति सनातन सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जाय। श्री श्री गौरनीताय की जाय। श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्र की जाय। श्री श्री रुक्मिणी द्वारकाधीश की जाय। द्वारका धाम की जाय। गौर प्रेमानंद हरि बोल। All glories is some of the devotees. All glories is some of the devotees. All glories is some of the devotees. Jai Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 14, Text 10, and a few more verses. King Pururava enchanted by Urvasi. Text 10 through 20 have no purport. I'll read 20 and 21. 20 I'll read the small purport, and 21 we'll chant together. Tatyaya Vidita Tara Kumaram Kanaka Prabham Spriham Angirasas Chakre Kumare Som Evacha. Sukadeva Goswami continued, by Brihaspati's order, Tara, who was very much ashamed, immediately gave birth to the child, who was very beautiful, with a golden bodily hue. Both Brihaspati and the moon god Soma desired the beautiful child. Text 11. Mamayam nataveti uchais tasmin viva damanayo prapachur rishayo deva naivoche vridita tusa. Fighting again broke out between Brihaspati and the moon god, both of whom claimed, "This is my child, not yours." All the saints and demigods present asked Tara whose child the newborn baby actually was, but because she was ashamed, she could not immediately answer. Kumaro mataram praha kupito lika lajaya kimna vachasyad sad brite atmavadya vadasume. The child then became very angry and demanded that his mother immediately tell the truth. "You unchaste woman," he said, "what is the use of your unnecessary shame? Why do you not admit your fault? Immediately tell me about your faulty behavior." I think this is the newborn. He's kind of good speaker at birth in those days. Brahmatam raha ahuya samaprachik chasantmayan somasyetya ahasanakai somastam tavar agrahit. Lord Brahma then brought Tara to a secluded place, and after pacifying her, he asked to whom the child actually belonged. She replied very slowly, "This is the son of Soma, the moon god." Then the moon god immediately took charge of the child. Tasyatma yonir akrita buddha iti abhidam nipa Budya Gambiraya Yena Putrena Poduran Mudam. Umar's Pricket, when Lord Rama saw that the child was deeply intelligent, he gave the child the name Buddha. The moon god, the ruler of the stars, enjoyed great jubilation because of this son. Tata Pururava Yagye Ilayamya Udarita Tasya Rupa Gunadaya Shiladravina Vikraman Shutvorva Sindravavane Giyamanam Surashina Tad Antikam Upeyaya Devi Smara Sarardita. Thereafter, from Buddha through the womb of Ila, a son was born named Pururava, who was described in the beginning of the 9th canto, when his beauty, personal qualities, magnanimity, behavior, wealth, and power were described by Narada in the court of Lord Indra. The celestial woman, Urvasi, was attracted to him. Pierced by the arrows of Cupid, she thus approached him. Mitra Varunayo Sapat Apananaralokatam Nisamya Purusha Shrestam Kandarpam Ivarupinam Dhritim Visnabhyalalana Upataste Tarantike Satam Vilokanripatir Harshenot Pulalochanaha Uvacha Slaksnayavacha Devim Rista Tanuruha. Having been cursed by Mitra and Varuna, the celestial woman Urvasi had acquired the habits of a human being. Therefore, upon seeing Pururava, the best of males whose beauty resembled that of Cupid, she controlled herself and then approached him. When King Pururava saw Urvasi, his eyes became jubilant in the ecstasy of joy, and the hairs of his body stood on end. With mild, pleasing words, he spoke to her as follows. Sirajuvacha swagatam tevararohe asyatam haravam avkim samramashva maya sakam ratir now shashvati soma. King Pururava said, O most beautiful woman, you are welcome. Please sit here and tell me what I can do for you. You may enjoy with me as long as you desire. Let us pass our life happily in a sexual relationship. Text 20. Urvasi uvacha kasyastvayi sajeta manojushyashta sundara yarangantaram asadya chavate ha niramsaya. Urvasi replied, O most handsome man, who is the woman whose mind and sight could not be attracted by you? If a woman takes shelter of your chest, she cannot refuse to enjoy with you in a sexual relationship. Purport. When a beautiful man and a beautiful woman unite together and embrace one another, how within these three worlds can they check their sexual relationship? Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam 7:9-45 says, Yan mai tunari griyamedi sukam hitucham. Text 21 together. Etav yuranakau rajan nyasau rakshashvamanada samnam se bhavata sakam slakya strinam parasmitaha etav ura nakau rajan nyasau rakshashva manada samram se bhavata sakam slakya strinam parasmitaha etav uranakau rajan nyasau rakshashvamanada samramsye bhavata sakam slakya strinam barak smitaha. Etab uranaka rajan Nyasa rakshashvamanada Samram se bhavata rakam Sayastinam baraksmitaha Etab uranaka rajan Naso rakshashvamanada Samapse bhavata sakam Sagyastrinam baraksmita Tad uranaka rajan Naso rakshashvamanada Samapse bhavata sakam Justin Mataji's Etav Uranaka Rajan Nyasau Rakshashvamanada Samram Se Bhavatasakam Slagyastrinam Raksmita Etau. To these two Uranakau lambs, Rajan, O King Pururava, Nyasau, who have fallen down, Rakshashva, please give protection. Manada, O one who gives all honor to a guest or visitor. Samramsye, I shall enjoy sexual union. Bhavatasakam, in your company. Slagya, superior. Strinam, of a woman. Bara, husband. Smita, it is said. Translation. My dear King Pururava, please give protection to these two lambs who've fallen down with me. Although I belong to the heavenly planets and you belong to earth, I shall certainly enjoy sexual union with you. I have no objection to accepting you as my husband, for you are superior in every respect. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. As stated in Brahma Samhita 540, Yasya Prabhavato Jagaranda Koti, Koti Swasesu Vasudari Vibhuti Vinam. There are various planets and various atmospheres within this universe. The atmosphere of the heavenly planet, from which Urvasi descended, after being cursed by Mitra and Varuna, was different from the atmosphere of this earth. Indeed, the inhabitants of the heavenly planets are certainly far superior to the inhabitants of earth. Nonetheless, Urvasi agreed to remain the consort of Pururava, although she belonged to a superior community. A woman who finds a man with superior qualities may accept such a man as her husband. Similarly, if a man finds a woman who is from an inferior family, but who has good qualities, he can accept such a brilliant wife as advised by Sri Chanakya Pandit, Sri Ratnam Dushkuladapi. The combination of male and female is worthwhile if the qualities are both are on an equal level. Etavaranakau Rajan, Nyaso Rakshashramanada, Samram Se Bhavatasakam, Slagya Strinam Varak Smitaha. My dear King Pururava, please give me protection to these two lambs who have fallen down with me. Although I belong to the heavenly planets and you belong to earth, I shall certainly enjoy sexual union with you. I have no objection to accepting you as my husband, for you are superior in every respect. Om Jnana Timirandasya Yaranjana Shilakaya Chaksurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances to his lotus feet. So first of all, so many verses. Tara gave birth to a son who was named later Buddha by his real father, the moon god. The guru, her actual husband, Brihaspati, was in an argument with Soma, ultimately became big fight among the demigods because he wanted that son. His wife bore the child, therefore it's his son. This was days of yore and how human beings actually act. Nowadays, they even have shows on television, I've been told. I wouldn't know. Where the husband and wife or boyfriend and girlfriend, dozens and dozens and dozens, go on the show and he says, it's not my child. The kid ain't mine. And she says, it's your child. And so they do a, what do you call? DNA test. Pull out the envelope, I've been told, at the end of the program to reveal you are the father of this child. Nowadays, no one wants the child. Unwanted progeny, Varna Sankara, as we read the other day, about children being born that are unwanted. Father wanted the sensual pleasure, but he didn't want the responsibility of the child, or vice versa. They're fighting. Or someone gives birth to a child and then disappears and leaves the child with the woman who has to raise the child by herself. And child has no father. Or maybe, if they're lucky, stepfather. But in this case, Brihaspati and Soma were fighting. I'm the father, no, I'm the father. And ultimately Brahma came after the child so eloquently spoke. Can you imagine? That, listen, tell everybody who's the real dad. Right now. He used some harsh words with Mama at the time. And she revealed to Brahma, Soma is the father. No DNA test was necessary. She knew who was the father. Unfortunately, in this age, people don't even know. Well, I was with this one, and that one. So it could be 1 out of 4. I'm not sure. Let's make a test. Could be anyone on the block. Not this block, of course, but on the material block, on the mundane block. So this is the advance of Kali Yuga. Manda sumanda matayo, manda bhagya hi upadruta. Men are short-lived, women short-lived, misguided, unlucky, quarrelsome, always disturbed. It's your baby. No, it's your baby. Could be Bill's baby. What about Bob? How about Jeffrey? Could be his baby. But here, we learn, even though she had a son from Soma, and Brihaspati did not blame her because she wanted a son, and he did not give her the son. And she went to Soma, the moon god, for that son. Therefore, the previous verse we read, he didn't blame her in that way. So, from this son of Soma came the great king Pururava. He was a very powerful, handsome, extremely attractive king. And this Urvasi, she had fallen from the heavenly planets. She was the most attractive female, besides Mohini Murti herself, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For a demigoddess, she was very attractive, but she had some principles. First principle, everything I eat must be cooked in ghee. That's her principle. You cook anything in corn oil, I'm out of here. We won't get into discussing oils. But she said, first thing is, everything must be cooked in ghee. Second thing, I can never see you naked. Demigods, demigoddesses, finer intelligence, they know that naked is not attractive. It's science. They have that magazine when we were young about the villages in Africa, and Natural Geographic, was it called? Something. I can't even remember. And it was scientific. Sometimes there were people not dressed so well, but it was scientific, not an attractive magazine. So the demigods and people of finer intelligence, they don't find nudity very attractive. Some years ago, we went in Missouri, upstate Missouri, for the first time to a rainbow gathering. And all the people there were, practically speaking, except for the devotees in dhoti and sari, everyone else was naked. And actually, it wasn't very attractive at all. It was actually like being in a hospital. It was not attractive. It was not sensual. If someone, I think at one point in time, they bussed in students from the high school, and they were all half-dressed. And that was very mind-boggling. But naked, no one was attracted. Even there was a devotee in the hospital in St. Louis. Maybe I told this once before. He was such a good devotee, Sura Prabhu. I can tell the name. He was in the hospital in St. Louis, there in the ward for childbirth. What do you call the maternity ward? His wife was giving birth. He had on the mask and the robe, and he was there with his wife. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. She was giving birth to a beautiful son, and at one point, the pain of the contractions became so severe that she kicked off the blankets and the different cloth that was covering her. And her husband, Madhukar Prabhu, immediately turned around and started screaming at the top of, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. And so people in the hospital, devotees came in months and even years later. Oh, I got this deep cut on my finger. Oh yeah, you got Hare Krishna, Hare. It was all over the hospital. These are the guys, when the wife kicks off the blanket, the husband turns around, he can't, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So, finer intelligence means Urvasi was a demigoddess. She was from the she was a Gandharva, Gandharvika. That this nudity is not attractive. And therefore she told him these two things. I want everything in ghee without exception. And you can never be naked except when we're procreating. He agreed, although he was not of the Gandharvas. He understood her high nature. And the members of the Gandharva community, they wanted Urvasi back. They missed her from the assembly. So they made a plot. They made a plan that they would go and steal the 2 lambs in the verse we just read. She had these 2 lambs. Please protect these lambs. The Gandharvas came in the middle of the night and stole the lambs. So Urvasi, as we'll read, became a little upset. And she said to her beloved husband, "What kind of a man are you? You're not a man, you're a woman in a man's body because you can't even protect the lambs." So he went out running after the sweet words of his beloved spouse, and he ran out, found the Gandharvas, captured the lambs back. So the Gandharvas lit up the castle, lit up the house when he was returning, and she saw he had the 2 lambs and he was naked. He had run in the middle of the night and didn't put the clothes. She immediately left. Urvasi, he broke one of the principles. Second principle. So she left him and he went more or less mad. Nunam pramata kurute vikarma. In this material world, people are mad after sense gratification. They'll do anything. Just like in the Leela that Bilvamangala, Suradas, he chased after that, what was her name? The prostitute? Chintamani. Chintamani? He chased after her through all kinds of difficulties, flooding and climbing walls and slides, mudslides. And when he got to her, she said, if you had this much attraction for Lord Krishna, you would be a great devotee. That you tolerate everything for your desire. If you desired Krishna instead of me, oh, you would be a great devotee. If you tolerated so much inconvenience for Lord Krishna. So, Pururava went in so many ways to get back his beloved. Even he was given back the Agnastali girl, but he could understand that it was not Urvasi. And finally, at the end of the chapter, we'll hear that he had to make a sacrifice with the Arani wood and promote himself to her abode. Basically, he left this world to join this Urvasi. So this is the nature of the material world. I want sense gratification, and I'll be willing to do anything in order to get it. Yan maitunari griyamedi sukham hi tucham. Prabhupada quotes in the previous purport. Yan maitunari griyamedi sukham hitucham. Srimad Bhagavatam says that it is that sex attraction which is like the rubbing of two hands together to relieve an itch. That is the actual feature that keeps us in this material world. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam says, although that desire is there, naturally, because we have these bodies, we have to engage our senses in the service of the master of the senses. Engage all of our consciousness in the service of the master of consciousness. Srila Prabhupada said, the difference between me and you is that I can sit in a room with naked women and not be disturbed. That is dhira. What Prabhupada said, you are all babes in the woods, spiritually speaking, even materially speaking. Practically speaking, he told us, none of you have any brain. That's a pretty heavy statement. None of you, we're so proud, honor society, state scholar, whatever, memorizing verses. Prabhupada said, none of you have any brain among you. He mentioned one person, maybe, little, tiny brain. So therefore, whatever tiny, minuscule brain we have to utilize it in Krishna's service. To do everything very meticulously. Just like the other day, Sura Prabhu was showing me the bookkeeping of the traveling Sankirtan party. There were columns and rows and this, what was done this day, the weekly total, each individual against what they did I was so amazed. It was extremely meticulous. Even though none of the boys had CPA classes, maybe at best, what, freshman year of college? Algebra? Not even. Okay, they graduated high school. Maybe. They made a meticulous chart that any corporation would be proud of. It had so many fine points and was done very nicely and neatly. And I thought, these boys are Krishna conscious. Not because of bookkeeping. It's not that if you're a bookkeeper, you're Krishna conscious. We don't say that. We'd like to say that, but we can't say that. It's because they're utilizing their consciousness not just for distributing books, but utilizing their brain for Krishna consciousness. Utilizing every facility that they have for spreading Krishna consciousness and keeping track of the spreading and keeping track of the people that we're spreading. Very meticulous. This is Krishna. Prabhupada would do like that. Keep track of everything. Little expenses Prabhupada kept, isn't it? He had a little ledger and expenses of 20 paisa. Srila Prabhupada was writing and keeping in the ledger, utilizing everything. This is devotee. So we can follow that model and utilize all the qualities of the materialistic persons only for the purpose of Krishna. Who else can build such beautiful buildings who has no experience in architecture. Sura Prabhu never learned the science of house building, yet he's engaged in so many activities of house building. He never learned, the people at BBT didn't work for a publishing company. One day, 20 years ago, two people came from Macmillan to look at our covers. And they said, my goodness, you have the most beautiful books. We'd love to have some. Macmillan, the person in charge of, we have the tape, if someone has a tape recorder, cassette. They interviewed and said that this is much better than what we have done. Your artwork is your brand, they said. And they said someone was highly trained. We said, no one's trained. How to lay out and design, practically speaking. Archita, you graduated high school? He went to 1 year of college. No way. Civil engineering, not layout and design. But they're laying out and design. The artists, they never did anything previously. So we utilize all of our intelligence and all of our consciousness for serving Lord Krishna and our spiritual master. And we'll be successful and so busy, there'll be no time for sense gratification. There's no time for urvacy. We're too busy. I have told this story once or twice. I was at Port Authority with Pragosh Prabhu, old Sankirtan devotee. And I was standing right behind him. We were ready to leave. I don't think he knew I was there. And a prostitute came up. And she said, how would you like a date? And I was like standing 6 feet away, listening. I got him. Now I'll beat him on Sankirtan because I'm turning him in. And he said, well, actually it's 6 o'clock now. We have to take a cab home and take a quick shower so I can go to Sundar Arti at 6:30. Then at 7 we have Bhagavad Gita class till 7:45. And at 7:45 we read Krishna book till 8, have a little bit of prasadam and hot milk and take rest. Her mouth was, he said, so I'm a little busy, but maybe another time. Let me give you one of these books. I was more shocked than her. I thought, how Krishna conscious. He gave her the whole evening schedule, which we didn't always attend, but he attended. And he's too busy. Love to read Haridas Thakur. Let me finish my rounds. As soon as I'm done, I'll take care of whatever you want. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. He made a vow for, what was it, 300,000 names or rounds? Names. No time to sneeze. What to speak of be with this, at one time, Maya. So because we keep ourselves so busy in Krishna consciousness, there's no time for sense gratification, and that's the science. So we have to engage. If the president gives us more and more service, we should be grateful. He knows I need to get more and more absorbed in Krishna Katha, in Krishna consciousness, so that my mind won't wander off to unlimited, variegated. This material world is endlessly mutable. One can concoct unlimited sense gratification. It doesn't give any pleasure, but practically speaking, it goes on and can't be stopped unless one engages in Krishna consciousness. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Who's the bookkeeper?